Can't you folks hear that as well? It's like there's a banging noise coming out of this blower. You know, one of the side benefits of having this YouTube channel, when you record most everything you do on your property, is either you folks see something or hear something on a video that I didn't pick up on, or in watching it back, I see or hear something that's just not right. Something that I'd otherwise probably not be able to tell or know about. I mean, in all fairness, that banging, I don't hear that in the cab. And of course, with a snowblower, you can't come out while it's running. You have to be sitting in the seat. So I think we need to run that over to Guy's place and let him have a look at it, because something's definitely loose or wrong. All right, where's that mechanic? I'm just going to start it.
Yeah.
Spin that.
When does it do it?
When I run it. So I know the chain might be slack. It looks a little slack, actually.
You've got a bolt here.
Yeah.
Nuts on this side, and there's a groove or slide.
Yeah.
On the inside of there, there's a spur gear and bearings.
Okay.
And that'll slide down and it'll take the tension out
Okay.
of this.
Gotcha. Yeah, it actually does look pretty loose against that gear. I can see it.
It is. And
Yeah.
it can cause it to make that noise sometimes.
Okay.
Because it can hit a hard spot and then light.
Yeah.
So let's tighten that up.
Okay, let me grab your wrenches. Ooh. Feels good?
Yeah.
How do you know?
Pulling on that, you're going to take it out of adjustment before I tighten it up.
Does that mean I'm going to be wearing one of those wrenches?
Pretty much.
Okay. Point made. Yep. I know you always joke about it, but when you always tell me if I have a problem, just leave the tractor and go back home. I'm beginning to think that's not a joke anymore, guy.
No, you know that $40 can of spray paint you got?
Yeah.
You can use it over here. I should tighten that up.
Okay, and then throw a little lube on there, because I haven't lubed it for a couple weeks.
You've got all these moving joints in your chain,
Yeah.
and when it's running, it wears slightly. So you take a tenth of a thou on every one, add them all up, and it gives you slackness. So that's why you've got the adjuster down the side of it to keep tension. Chains will always stretch.
And so I probably should have adjusted this by now, I guess.
Yeah, we're starting to get slack. Mine loosens off quite a bit, especially if I start hitting stuff like logs and things.
Okay. Yeah, they haven't seen that video yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm giving it away. Should I lube them now or wait? Or?
Oh, here. Yeah, might as well.
Should do it?
Yeah. Can't get out of this one like you say, though.
Yeah, well that one, you have to, I saw on another channel, Ross's channel, you have to undo those 4 bolts and take the lid off to get to it. Back underneath, under the subframe, the K-connect, that one's tight.
That one's tight, but that one's
That guy's loose. Maybe that's why it's leaking down so quick.
Yeah.
Nice. See, I love that. That's spinning nice and easy. You're spinning the whole auger with that. Yeah, so it's nice, and I told you I lubricated and greased it. You didn't believe me, did you?
I'm going to get you to hold the auger steady.
Okay. Just hold it front.
Yep.
Okay.
Not necessarily the auger. Try the
The fan. Okay. Cover me, I'm going in. All right, well, the doctors looked at my sick patient. It's not making the noise it was making yesterday on that video, and I have a feeling it's because that chain was so loose. Because quite honestly, although I do my lubrication, my grease, I have never once adjusted the tension on that chain. And guy said it was pretty darn loose. So I have a feeling that flapping around was making the noise. But if you take a look here, hopefully you can see this. that would have been one mighty big boulder that got caught in this fan blade. And you can probably see the bend, how it's bent right out. And I'm not sure if that's possibly done anything to that spindle. Either way, the doctor gave it a full checkup. He said the bearings all look good, all the bushings, all of the components. The one thing we did find, which might be the reason why this thing leaks down so quickly, is he found one of the hydraulic couplings was loose on one side, so he tightened her up. But we'll take her for a run. I feel a little better now. Told me I put too much grease, which is possible. Anyways, we're good to go. Get that driveway finished up. So hey, I decided I was going to do a little experiment today. I thought you guys would come along for the ride. I've been talking to our good friend Claude, one of the subscribers, a little bit further. You may recall on that video a couple weeks ago, he was talking about, or we talked about, the appropriate operating temperature for the tractor and how important it is not to put it under load until it's warmed up. So he gave me a few pointers. Figured I'd try it out today and see for myself. I hope you'll stick around with me. We'll catch up again at the end and I'll tell you the results of it. Okay, so here's where we ended up. Special thanks to Claude for giving me a few pointers to do this experiment. As you folks know, I'm not very mechanically minded. I don't have a background in it, so this was all kind of new to me. A few disclaimers before I start with the results. In all fairness, Claude told me I was supposed to take readings at different parts of the block each time. I only did one, but hey, I always shot it in the same spot. So hopefully that doesn't skew the results. You saw me take two readings. One was on the side of the block of the engine, and the other one was on the thermostat housing for the radiator. In each case, I took at least two, sometimes three readings, even though I only showed you one, because I wanted to make sure that they were accurate and I didn't get a false or an odd reading. And they were all accurate, almost right to the decimal place each time. So I know they were consistent. I'm going to give it to you in Celsius and Fahrenheit, but here's basically what I did with the experiment. I got up in the morning, I told you and I showed you it was -5 degrees Celsius outside, which is 23 degrees Fahrenheit. I came outside, opened up the hood, I took my first two readings, and before I plugged the block heater in, the block itself was at -11.6 degrees Celsius, which is about 11 degrees Fahrenheit. The thermostat was at -12 Celsius, which is 10.5 degrees Fahrenheit. I plugged in the block heater, and you saw I timed it for 15 minutes. Came back out after 15 minutes with the block heater on. The block itself had raised to 18 degrees Celsius, which is pretty quick, I figured, which is 64.5 degrees Fahrenheit. The thermostat reading was at 12, which is 54 degrees Fahrenheit. I threw another 15-minute timer on while the block heater was heating up the engine. So at the end of 30 minutes, the block had gone up to 23 degrees Celsius, which is 73.5 degrees Fahrenheit. The thermostat, I don't know what I did with that footage. Not that it matters, but I didn't get that reading because I couldn't find it. I unplugged the block heater, I started the tractor up, and I let it warm up for 15 minutes only. I jumped in the tractor. You folks probably noticed there were no bars on the dashboard on the thermostat or on the temperature reading. It was blank. I threw the tractor under load with the snowblower and I started heading out. Almost immediately, within a minute or so, I got 1 bar on the dash. So I got a little temperature reading. It took about 3 to 4 minutes. I got 2 bars. And then within about 5 minutes, 5.5 minutes at the most, it was a very quick jump up to 3 bars. 3 bars for this LX2610, as I mentioned before, is the temperature it runs at all the time. Whether it's the hottest day of the summer or it's the coldest day of the winter, it will always operate with 3 bars showing on the dashboard. So what does that mean temperature-wise? At 3 bars, I actually continued doing the driveways you saw for a few more minutes because I wanted to make sure it was up to temperature for a little bit before I took the readings. The block was at 66 degrees Celsius, which is 151 degrees Fahrenheit. The thermostat housing was at 50 degrees Celsius, which is 122 degrees Fahrenheit. So, at the end of the day, this is kind of consistent with what Claude told me his tractor does. He mentioned that he's tested his tractor several times. He has a Kubota, and it runs around 141 degrees Fahrenheit. He also mentioned to me that he thinks that's a little bit cold for a diesel engine. I don't know much about engines, so I'll leave it at that, but he said he actually checked with his dealer, his Kubota dealer, and they told him the engine was running appropriately. So, in addition to that, answers a question about block heaters. A lot of folks will ask me over time how long I leave the block heater plugged in the winter before I turn on the tractor. It depends on how cold it is outside, how far below zero it is. And I've just kind of learned over the years to leave it longer or shorter. And the judge for that, or the determination for that, is if I've left it on for half an hour or an hour and I come out, and I don't know, it's -50, -20 out, and I turn the engine on and it labors to start, then in my mind I remember the next time it gets that cold to leave it longer. That's kind of how I judge it. I've also had several people telling me that if you put a block heater on your engine, after about 15 minutes, there's no sense leaving it on any longer because it won't warm the engine anymore. And I think that might be true at some point, but today's test kind of told me that the jump between 15 minutes of block heating that engine and 30 minutes had a significant temperature difference on the block. So it may be true that after so long or a certain period of time, that block heater can only heat the block so far, but at least I know that I'm good for half an hour, maybe more. But at least I know that plugging it in for longer than 15 minutes does help. Anyways, that was the experiment today. I wanted to thank Claude again, appreciate it. I learned a few things again today, and that's what it's all about. Thanks so much for sticking around today. I hope you found it helpful. Have a great week with your families. Please be kind to each other. And I'll see you again right here. I'm Gord Potter, and you've been watching GP Outdoors. Cheers.